Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. Today, it's my great pleasure to introduce this webinar in our series that we've been having throughout the COVID crisis in this year to keep our members connected. If you've joined before, you probably know I'm Keith Newton, the International Secretary General of the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport. And the good news for everybody is that I'll be speaking very little this morning. I'll be handing over to the team you've got in front of you, a very impressive team indeed, and to our chairman, Usman Shuaibu, sorry, Usman, who is our vice chair of our Global Next Generation Forum. And Usman will be introducing the speakers and leading us through today's session. I will pass over now to our chairperson for today, Usman. Over to you, Usman.
Thank you very much, Keith, and thank you for that wonderful introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are in this part of the world you're joining us. This is the 10th webinar series organized by the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport, and a special series for the next generation of CILT next generation. Now, today's webinar is going to run for 1 hour 30 minutes, so which means we have a couple of times to go through the speaker session and the panel session, and then we have the special guest who will be speaking and sharing some motivational touch, and then we cap it up with the Q&A session. So today we have 3 excellent speakers who will be sharing part of the journey for the next generations. We're trying to showcase some of the people that we have, and they represent some of the examples of some solution providers within the continent, and as we move in helping our society achieve greater transformation. So today's webinar, as Keith has mentioned, we believe the impact of the pandemics has affected many communities, societies, and individuals as well. And with that respect, members can be able to learn from some of the examples that our panelists and speakers will share. And so make the most out of today's webinar. Put in some questions to write. So let's introduce the first speaker for today's webinar, who is Mr. Tiza Kyaagba. He is from CILT International Transport Company. So prior to the start of Tiza, he served as the Chief Logistic Officer for Capital Projects. It's an international limited company which is majorly focused on construction. So Tiza will be taking us through a presentation titled The Joy of a Delivery Service. So Tiza, you have 10 minutes to make your presentation.
Thank you very much, Usman. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Like Usman earlier said, my name is Tiza Kyaagba. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Tiza Urban Transport Company, trademarked Tiza. And today I'll be talking to you all about the joys of a delivery service. First of all, for those of us who are here and are not professionals, I would like to give a brief introduction or a definition of what a courier or a delivery service is. It's a person or organization that transports packages, items from one place to another, from point A to point B. And I'm sure we all know about the big ones, the likes of DHL, Amazon. Yes, Amazon can be referred to as a courier or a delivery service. Back here in Nigeria, we have NiPost, and we have Jumia, which is the Nigerian version of Amazon. And of course, we have Tiza, my personal delivery service. Tiza started off in 2016. That's when we were registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission in Nigeria, and we fully began operations in January 2017. We started off doing interstate market-to-market deliveries for agricultural produce, and from markets to households, door-to-door deliveries as well. We ventured into parcel and small item deliveries by January 2018, 1 year later. I'm sure a lot of you would ask what led me into this in the first place. It's my nature, my personality. Being the last of 5 children, I was the one who was always being sent around. Tiza, get this done. Tiza, fix this. Tiza, make sure this is sorted out. So everybody ran to me, and I enjoyed it to a large extent. So I decided, why not make this a thing? Why not make money off this? Also, I also had my things to do while they needed me to help sort out one or two things that they needed. I didn't see any reason why I had to leave what I was doing to help them sort out their own problems. There has to be a way where both of us can get what we want done. So being committed to convenience and efficiency also led to me starting this delivery or courier service. You could say that I would always choose the path of least resistance in anything I'm doing, as long as it's efficient at the end of the day. There are many benefits to the delivery business. First of all, for the service provider, me personally, our benefits are problem solving. We always find solutions to people's problems, and the networking capabilities. We have people call us every day, message us on social media platforms, send us emails. Oh, we'd like to get this done. We don't know how to go about it. We'd like to get this package delivered to this location. No one else is available to do it. Please, can you help us out? And even if they're not areas within our coverage area, we reach out to others. Keep on finding that solution to help out every individual person who comes seeking for a solution to their logistics problems. By so doing, we get to meet millions of people every month. I say we meet about, at least on a bad day, we get to meet or interact with about 50 people in a day. So that helps us build our network. In the process of networking, we also get access to information that naturally we wouldn't have had. So in trying to get one vendor's food delivered to their clients, we get to find out, oh, there's this association that exists and this is what they do. This is how we can tap into their own network to benefit our business and benefit our clients as well. And I've come to realize that when people start off with businesses, their initial ideas aren't really what bring in the most money for them, for their businesses. The offshoots of those business ideas are usually what at the end of the day end up being capitalized on. To the clients as well, there are benefits of the delivery service. First of all, to help them streamline their businesses, get them to focus on their core businesses while they let us take care of their distractions, in quote. They get to reduce their transport expenditure, and they save their own vehicular wear and tear, and in general, the total need for cars. A good example would be a friend of mine who complained a number of times that he sends out his secretary to dispatch letters, and that is something that should have taken at most, an hour, 30 minutes. But this secretary takes about 3 hours, 4 hours. From the analysis, they obviously went off doing 1 or 2 other errands of their own. And they end up spending more money than they would if they let us handle their deliveries and their couriers for them. First of all, we do it at a fraction of the cost. And the secretary has more time to do his or her core job in the office, within the office, as opposed to roaming around on the streets of town. Also, we offer transfer of risks. I'm sure you'd be very upset if it were your significant other's birthday, or an anniversary at work, and you ordered a cake from this vendor. You took your time to explain exactly how you wanted your cake, and at the end of the day, it arrived damaged. Who's going to pay for that? First of all, you've made payments for your cake, and then secondly, you have no cake. So we take that risk off your hands. First of all, in transporting your items, fragile and not fragile, we engage in insurance services where possible, so your items are insured. For the items that can't be insured, we ensure that they're packaged properly and transported with optimum care so that we don't have any issues. And if it now boils down to factors that we had no control over, then yes, risk was transferred to us, and we would mitigate and make amends. Like I said, affordability is also another benefit to the clients of the delivery service. If you were to move from your office to a vendor's place, which is about 20 kilometers away from yours, that would cost you, say, 1,000 naira one way per trip, another 1,000 back, using Nigeria and using Abuja costing as a reference. That's something that we at Tiza could do for you for about 600 to 800 naira. Now I can see the difference there. Initially, you're going to spend about 2,000. Now we're giving you the same service at 800. You're making a lot of savings. If you put that into consideration, in the long run, you see how much you save. Now, a few of our challenges are unreliable staff. So that's the riders and the drivers. People seem to want to do their own thing at their own time, the way they want it. So you can send a rider off to make a delivery that was supposed to take him 5-10 minutes, and he ends up spending 20 minutes and come up with stories. However, we've been able to reduce those issues, those challenges, by the use of trackers on our vehicles. At each point in time, we know exactly where the rider is and the driver is, so we don't hear any stories, packages are not lost in transit, and they arrive on time. But the three other issues which have been a bit challenging to sort out are unreliable mobile networks, whereby our trackers could simply lose network. Our riders and drivers cannot be reached due to network instability. And insurance, because of the high risk of our business, insurance companies usually don't want to sort out our insurance. They don't offer packages that are suitable for us. Also the cost of technology, which have sorted out the network unreliability issue. The cost of technology in our business is really high. However, we're looking at ready-made solutions, which are cheaper to purchase as opposed to building a custom one, and would still solve our problems and make the delivery process seamless, both for us and our clients and their clients as well. We've all been affected by the pandemic. Specifically, we were impacted positively. Initially, there was a sharp increase due to the total lockdown in Nigeria, a sharp increase in demand for our services. Immediately the lockdown was eased, there was a sharp decline as well. However, it stabilized in an upward trend. We grew our customer base. A lot of people got to realize the use and need of our services. So I would say overall, as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, we've had an overall growth in our customer base. That would be all from us. Facebook and Instagram contacts are there, handles are there, our email addresses. Feel free to reach out to us for partnerships and delivery services. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you very much, Tiza. That's a very excellent delivery, the journey of the delivery services. I believe our audience are able to get some insight into the business you do and draw some inspiration from some of your commitment. We see three things you emphasize: solution provider, networking, and consistency to whatever you do. So thank you very much, Tiza, for that excellent delivery.
Hello, everybody. I think we're experiencing some issues hearing Usman. Usman, shall I just introduce Anthony, and then hopefully your sound will return. So our next speaker is Anthony. He's the CEO of Splendid Ventures, and he's going to talk about my cold chain adventure. Anthony, can I pass over to you?
Hello, good morning once again. It's a pleasure sharing a little about my experience about the co-store or my coaching business. Indeed, it's we deal in both wholesale and then retail of products. That is poultry and then fish and poultry products as well. And then before we set up, we have drawn a vision. Out of the vision, we want to be the leading provider of quality, healthy and poultry products in the sub-region and beyond as well. And also we have our mission statement, that is timely provision of poultry products into to customers to ensure value for money too as well. And before the COVID-19, the pandemic, business, there were little issues or challenges we were facing, but we were able to maneuver through it. And business as sure was moving smoothly. There were no restrictions, no labor issues. That is COVID-19 protocols. That is the number of labor had to be reduced because of the pandemic. We had a full staff running, and then immediately the stock level, the reorder level, the stock levels go down. We quickly we quickly have products to replenish our stock as well, and things were moving on very well. And during the pandemic or during the COVID-19, there were one or two issues or challenges that we faced. One of them was the non-availability of the products due to the following. That is, number one, it's cut in supply of products from the country of origin. That deals with the poultry products, the imported, when we import goods, the poultry products, because the countries from Holland and Brazil, due to the COVID-19, there was some reduction in the workforce at their supply. So the time and the duration for which we need to get it delays a bit. And then due to the enforcement of the COVID-19 restrictions and protocols by the government of Ghana, that is the social distance, and then reduction of, that is a social distance. With this, the number of customers that would rather want to come and buy from the co-store or from us, the numbers would reduce drastically, because in transportation too, the numbers reduce as to per number of people that would have to board a public transport, and it has reduced. I think we have about, let's say a bus carrying about 30 will now have to carry about 15 or 10 passengers. So assuming you have about 30 of customers in one bus coming to get or purchase your product at a time, now you have about, let's say 15 or 10 of them, and the overrun cost to it goes very high. And then with the fish products, we have that is the number of vessels that can discharge fish at the port has reduced. Initially, we could take the port or the fishing harbor could discharge about 6 or 7 vessels at a go. But now we are reduced to about 2 or 3. And if your vessel or where you buy or you get your products from doesn't come on time, probably it can be at the anchorage for 2 days, 3 days, or even weeks before it comes. And that has really affected us a lot. And then the crew on board, usually the vessels when they come, they spend about minimum, let's say 4 days or 5 days, and they go back. So the production date has to be extended. On the high sea, it gets to, let's say, about 50 or 60, in a sense that the crew on board, they have to be quarantined for 14 days. So you've taken 14 out of the 45 days. You still have to add, let's say you add 14 to the 45 days. That takes you to about, let's say, 59 or 60 days. And there are also the delays in bank transaction as well. When you get to bank, the banks ask the normal times for closing, that is about 16:30 hours. Now they close around 14 hours. Then when you get there to the queue, you have to join before you'll be attended to. It was really hectic, and it's really hectic those times as well. And then it also affected cold room project that would take about 110 tons. Currently, we only contain about, let's say, about 20 to 30 tons, and we tend to expand to about close to having about taking about 110 tons. And due to that, supplies and then the labor coming, there's that reduction and all those things. It has really affected us a lot. Yeah, and after the COVID-19, definitely in every situation we pick lessons learned, we pick lessons out of it. How best has the COVID-19, what have we learned as the company from out of it, from the COVID-19? We've also realized that we need to adapt to new technologies in doing business. That is virtual meetings and others that we include. Let's say we engage our customers in others, the social media, the WhatsApp, that we just have to take a picture or a photograph of the product that is available. They look at it. When they are okay with it, we just have to send the money electronically. That is a mobile money system. Those who that we do the retail for, and then for the wholesale, the electronic banking. That is now that we have adapted to it. That is the electronic bank transaction as well. So it has really helped us. And then another way that we've also learned in doing other businesses, try to reach out to the customers, those who are not able to come due to time restraints and all those things. We have vans now that we supply the items to those who just want the items to be sent to them, just because of the integrity or the integrity that we have established. They tend to just send the money to us or through the bank, and then electronically, then we just load the items to them to their destination as well. That is those who buy on a wholesale prices or wholesale system. But those who do the retail, that those who need just a few kilos or just one carton and all those things, we also have a motorcycle and other tricycles that we extend or we send the products to them on time. Yeah, and there are still one or two issues that we are still battling with during this time. the cost of funding is a big challenge, especially for a whole vessel. You need roughly about let's say 600,000. That's about $100,000 every month to discharge the vessel, and then and other issues concerning it. But we hope as a company that above all, as the Lord who has started with us will surely finish with us. Amen. Then you have the details in order to get in touch with us, the number and then the email address or the WhatsApp for message as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Anthony. That is a very interesting presentation. At least through your presentation, we are able to learn the challenges that businesses face through during the COVID-19 crisis and the solution they have to prompt out of the challenges that were coming. And one of the key things you emphasize in your presentation is about the role of technology, which I think that is the driving force going forward in the future. Now, our next speaker for today is she is a model, and she is a contestant of many beauty pageants in Zambia. She is from CILT Zambia. Her name is Matildah Tonga. She runs a clothing company, a boutique in Lusaka, and so today she will be sharing her success story as clothing to success, the journey so far. So Matildah, you have the floor. Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, everything. Yes, I'm running a business called On Point Boutique. Yes, and it was established last year in 2019. I work in an environment where it's full of men, and I realized that most of the times men don't have time to buy clothes and all that. They would wear the same clothes, not really like over and over again. But for me, it was like, I need to supply clothes to people, like to men especially, because they don't have time to buy clothes like anywhere around. They don't have time for that because mostly men are the ones working. It's different from women. Women were able to put time for window shopping, for buying things, but for men it's rare. Most of the times they're ever working and all that. So I decided to supply clothes for them. I started with 3 people. So like when I told them to say, I want you to be looking nice, it was going so well. Working in men-dominated field inspired me to start my business, the On Point business. So my focus mainly was to sell clothes to men so that they look nice as well. They look on point, they look classy wherever they are. That's how it was. So that's how I started my business. The support from my customers, it started growing because their friends would be like, oh, you're looking nice. Who's supplying your clothes and all that? So they'll be like, Matildah is doing it. Wow. Then it started gaining more, like noticing, people were noticing every day, just like that. Then I was like, okay, I really have to make this big because people are noticing me. Like people would call me to say, I want a shirt, I want the trousers, I want shoes. They would make orders. And then that inspired me. So that's how the formation was made. And then the progress so far with the business is that in the first year, like I said, I started with 3 people. Then I started developing. As for now, I have like more than 50, 100 people that call and order and all that. And I managed to supply. Yeah, despite, because I work, like I have a job. So, I'll talk about the challenges later. So like 7 from 3 to 50, it's quite interesting. Like it's really, I didn't expect it. It was just a thought, like to supply people for men clothes and all that. But in reality, it turned out to be so good. And the experience in so far has been fascinating because my wish of seeing men looking good on point is becoming like to reality and all that. In terms of workforce, I started all alone, but due to increase of demand, I've engaged 2 people to help me run up and down because I still have a job and it's quite involving. So like I have 2 people that help me out, and as time goes by, I bet I'll still grow. Identified other sources for ordering products like from these other countries, China, South Africa, and previously I've also been ordering from Tanzania. So that's how it has been. And the challenges so far, due to this corona that happened, like, okay, before corona, everything was so okay, like everything was moving so okay, but like when corona started, it was hard because my products, like, they were imported, and there was a closure of borders. There was just that overflow, like it was affected, the flow was affected, logistics was affected, because most companies were closed and there was reduced of workforce. This has greatly affected my business. I was unable to reach some other customers because it was hard to like move from one point to another. It was scary. Like people just say, stay home. And like people, like it just changed a lot. It has been the biggest challenge, like biggest due to that. And as important dependent economy, our local currency is also depreciating rapidly, and there's little production going on due to some companies laying off workers. There is an unstable demand for foreign currency in order to bring some essential goods in the country. So as a result, these our order values have been increased drastically, and end users, consumers, are unable to bear the cost because it's so unbearable. So the above has really threatened our plans for expansion, but I, however, remain optimistic and believe that as we embrace our new normal, industries will open up so that who aren't employed can also absorb once again. And the future plans, well, On Point Boutique started as a mobile boutique, but we have plans of renting shops at critical business points such as shopping malls and markets as well. This will enable us increase our customers base and eventually establish ourselves as a brand to reckon with our long-term plans. And like when we started, our focus was only on men's clothes, but I'm also planning to diversify, like to venture into women's clothes, children, because there's also a demand there. And I ambitiously want to take our business across border into our neighboring countries as well, because I have those plans, yeah. And COVID-19 has really taught us some bitter lessons, I would say, because like goods were imported based on business. Because of this, our plans of stocking locally produced fabrics designed to satisfy the requirements of various clients from different walks of life. And business expansion require huge capital, you know. As On Point, I have plans of engaging sponsors to help me with financial support as I transform On Point from a local to a regional or eventually brand, like on global. Yes, so that's how far On Point has been. Like Khalil Gibran said, progress is not enhancing what it is, but advancing towards what will be. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Matildah. That is a very impressive presentation. And that caps out today's presentation, as we have learned so much about what young people have been doing, trying to provide solution in the industry, and what they went through in their business various journey with dealing with COVID-19. And today, who can better tell a better story than someone who has spent more than a decade of experience in this particular venture? So today we have one of our special advisor to the Africa Forum, who will be blessing this session with his experience about entrepreneurship and his journey so far. At this point, I would like to also encourage all our participants to use the Q&A session and post your questions to our respective speakers. So we will still have a session on Q&A session. Now I'll pass on the floor to Chief Teete Owusu-Nortey, who will be properly introducing himself and share the most awaiting moments that we are all waiting for. Chief, you have the floor, please.
Good day, all of you, and welcome to the 10th edition of CILT webinar. I'm excited to be talking to you, and it was quite interesting to hear from Tiza, Anthony, and Matildah talking about what they've been doing and what they intend to do and the challenges that they're going through. My being here is to talk to you about a few things that I have done to encourage Tiza, Anthony, Matildah, and to those of you who are in business and to some of you who are about to set up a business and thinking that setting up a business like what Tiza, Anthony, Matildah have done is a daunting task. No, it's not. You can do it if you put your hands to it. I'm going to share a few personal nuggets with you in respect of how to set up or start a business, grow it, and build conglomerates or groups of businesses. It has worked and still working for me, and hope you will all take a clue from some of what I will be talking to you about, if not all, to build your career in the global village. Every business, we all know, or individual needs a form of capital to step into a business environment, irrespective of the sector of the economy you want to trade or apply in. I'm sure if I talk of capital, most of us know what I'm talking about, especially those who did economics in school. However, there is one aspect which is not normally highlighted when setting up a business, except the financial capital or money to invest into the business. That capital I'm talking about is what I'll call the brain capital. I use my brain capital in setting up my businesses and not the financial capital we all know. I'm going to give you these 5 tools to enable you unlock your brain capital, after which I'll walk you through my success story by using these tools. The first point I'll indicate is that be an originator and not an imitator. Remember to be an originator and not an imitator. It does not mean you have to reinvent the wheels to be an originator. It does not mean you have to reinvent the wheels. You can tweak or add value to an existing idea to become your intervention. Let me give a classical example. The steering wheel, we all sit in cars, seen cars, or drive cars. The steering wheels that we see, it was developed by someone, but in recent times, just a steering wheel can get it to drive your car without even touching your gear lever. The gears are by the steering wheel. You can start your car with the steering wheel. You can start your stereo, play CDs, everything. And these are developments that have been added on with time by the originator and others who took it up and tweaked it. We even have wooden steering wheels and what have you. So always try and be an originator, taking what someone has done, add value to it, tweak it, and get it to be your invention. The second point I always use is have plan A, B, C, and if possible, D, or a lot of options in setting up your business. Or go a notch higher when others are copying you from your ideas. Don't just have the plan A and the plan B that will say, oh, what is the next plan? Okay, let's look at plan B. Then you're stuck. Always have plan A, B, C, and D if possible. The third point that I always use is that you should have a dream, a vision, or a bigger picture before you set up a business. These are driving force for you and your business as you are the driver. You should always remember, as a business person or as a startup person, you should always be the driver. And remember, a dream without action is dead. The fourth point that I would advise you to do is that you must be ready to sacrifice a lot of your pleasure to achieve your goals as a startup. It requires 24/7 of your time. You cannot, and I say again, you cannot be distracted or fail. The fifth point, which is very key, is that build a goodwill for yourself, i.e. have a trustworthy or honest character, as that would open doors to enable you to use what I will always call OPM. That is, other people's money to establish your business than a financial facility. You are just starting up and then you go for a facility, a loan, meaning that you've started incurring debts before you probably will start appreciating profit, or it might take you a long time to have a return on investment. But if you use other people's money with the right tools, you will never have any debt to pay to anybody. And within the shortest possible time, you start enjoying your profit. The sixth point is that the mark of an entrepreneur is to take a risk. That is what makes great entrepreneurs. However, it has to be a calculated risk. The seventh and last but one point is that you need the X factor. You need the X factor. The extra inner force or power that keeps you going when you want to stop or turn back. It could be God. It could be what you believe in. And this is to those who are religious. That is, those who believe in God. It could be God who's your X factor. Or having a godfather or a mentor who always drives you to success. The last point is always have the wow factor in your personal or work outlook so as to stand out and be counted. The last point in the eight tools I want to give you for a successful business that I use in my companies is always stand out with the wow factor with your business and with your personality. Let me talk to you a few minutes about how I started my first business without a peso, or without a dime, or without a kwacha, or without a naira, Nigerians would say. 25 years ago, the first independent broadcasting station was established in Ghana. And I kept listening to a radio station. I was asking myself, what can I do to make a difference? What can I do to stand out and be counted? I need to change the dynamics in respect of radio broadcasting. At the time, I used to be the workshop manager for an auto company, a workshop company where we fix cars. So listening to a radio program or listening to a station, I realized that there is no program on air that talked about car maintenance and road safety. So what I had to do was to go to the radio station and tell them that, listen, you guys, we need a medium where we can educate the motoring public and the pedestrians about road safety and car maintenance. What they said to me, this is a brilliant idea. However, we don't have the resource to employ you, neither do we have the money to host such a program. But then if you can raise your own sponsors, you can come and we'll talk about it. I said, well, that's good. But before that, give me the budget or the airtime that I'll need, or the cost of airtime that I'll need to run such a program. They gave it to me. I mean, I didn't know how to write a proposal, but I had to put a few words together, string them. And I walked to a few companies. I mean, I went to about 10 companies, and luckily for me, 3 bought into the idea. So I had a proposal, the objective of the program, the duration, the medium as to the radio station, and the cost. One of my major clients that came on board was Mobile. At the time in Ghana, was called Mobile. Now it's called Total. They bought into it. They gave me part payment. I went to Toyota. They also bought into the idea, gave me part money. And I went to another tire company, bought into the idea, gave me part payment. Then I went to a radio station. I told them, listen, this is it. I've gotten the money. I paid part of the airtime and I kept the rest for my resource persons, the presenter, and what have you. The program was on air and I was part of a resource person. So what I did was that because I'm the originator, I was writing a script for the presenter. So the presenter was presenting. Once in a while, I come on air as a resource person, just to warm myself into the program, because it is my idea. I impregnated the idea. So birthing out, I'll be the right person to nurture my child. Luckily for me, about a couple of years down the line, the radio presenter was taken out of that station to go build another radio station in another town. So I took up the microphone and I ended up being the radio presenter for over almost about 2 decades. I was on air and won a lot of awards. And that was the first independent production program on the Ghanaian airwave that has been presented and produced by someone who is not working for the radio station, but rather paying the radio station. I didn't have a company then, but there were a lot of clients who were coming to me wanting to advertise on my program. So I asked myself, what is advertising all about? What is marketing all about? To my understanding, have a product, have a medium, avenue, and sell out to those who need it. So that got me to set up an integrated marketing company, or we call it an advertiser marketing company. So that got me to set up my first business called Yetron Services. So coming back to the tools, the 8 tools that I indicated, to rehash how I used the 8 tools to build my first business. I was the originator. So I was able to know how to manage everything. Along the line, other radio stations tried to emulate, to imitate. Because they were not the originators, immediately they copycat my program, I switched to plan B. Then they'll follow me with plan B. Then I switched to plan C. So at any time, I was a step ahead of them. They couldn't survive because they're not the originators, so they had to stop the program. Now, coming back to a dream, I had a dream, and I didn't sleep on the dream. I acted it, and I brought to fruition the dream. I sacrificed so many things, my friends, my time, my pleasure, because I wanted to build a brand. I wanted to build an equity. Now, I used OPM. That is very key. I never used financial resources from anybody else. I used other people's money to set up the first business that I had. Being that I had an idea, I had a concept, I had a budget. I was able to build confidence in myself and went to other people to tell them that it is workable, it's doable. Give me the opportunity. Don't give me much money. You can give me 10, 15, 20, 30% of the money I'm asking to give me. Wait till I get it done. Then along the line, you give me a pay plan, then we'll get it done. I was a risk taker. I'm a risk taker. I took a risk. It was the first independent production program. I wasn't discouraged when I went to a radio station that said to me that you can't be a presenter because you're not a journalist. You've not been to any school to teach you how to talk on radio. I wasn't discouraged. I took my time to learn through the ranks to get tutelage by being on air, and here we are. I had an X factor. I had a wow factor, and that is what has gotten me in my first business. Moving on to my second business. I've risen through the ranks in CILT. I'm sure you all know. Yet I wasn't having any business to do with transport, logistics, supply chain. So I keep asking myself, if somebody asks me that, oh, you are a fellow, you are this, you are that, what business do you run? It would be an embarrassment to tell them that I don't have a transport-related business, yet you are such a high-profile person in the transport industry. So I was hungry, looking for something to feed my soul in trying to achieve my aspiration and getting something done. One occasion, I went to the US to visit a friend, and he was relocated. Those of you who've been to the US before, there's this relocation company called U-Haul. So we engaged them. They came with their trucks and their labor, and I realized that whatever they're doing was so perfect, but I hadn't seen that in Ghana before. So I got that concept, came to Ghana, did a bit of research, and realized that there are about 30 similar companies in Ghana, yet most people were not aware of such a removal company. I took time to do a research, Apparently, a very good friend of mine was running such a business. I knew him very well. I knew the name of his company, but I didn't know what he does. So I said to him, listen, I'm going to establish a company called Logistics Movers. And it's similar to yours. Don't see me as a competitor, but see me as a complementer. If you see me as a competitor, the business wouldn't work for the two of us. I don't have what it takes to run the business like yours. But then I have the clouds, I have the goodwill, I have the marketing skills and everything. Let me be your marketing arm of the business and start working together with you. So I'll go look for clients, get his people to go do a survey. After doing a survey, he will give me an invoice. I'll take the invoice from him and mark the invoice up by 10, 15, 20% based on who they are. So gradually, I was able to set up the second business again, Logistics Movers, without spending a pesewa. And currently, I work for a lot of multinationals, and my brand is a known brand with billboards all over Ghana, and that is making so much inroads in Ghana. So ladies and gentlemen, I come to the end of my presentation, and to wrap up, you don't need so much capital to set up your business if you have the right tools that I've told you to apply. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, Chief. This is a very wonderful presentation, very inspiring. In fact, I was at some point couldn't be able to press and put a stop in your presentation because it was quite very overwhelming. But one of the few takeaways we can take from this presentation is that you be an originator, not an imitator. Have the wow factor and the X factor. I think that works excellently, very well. Thank you very much, Chief, for that presentation. So with that, we can proceed onto the Q&A session. I believe we have a couple of questions coming in now. So I'll read out some of the few questions that come in. And this question is for Matildah, and one of the CILT member who is also from Rwanda. His question is that how does your imports of goods, what are the challenges that your imports of goods and services face within the COVID-19 crisis? So that's the question that was posed from Josilia from Rwanda. Matildah, if you have something to respond for.
Yeah, the challenges are that, like, since the corona, it was hard to import in goods from China, from Tanzania. So like, it was hard, like borders were closed. So it was quite challenging on that part because borders were closed. And then where will I get the clothes from? Within Zambia, I need to have an alternative. So it was quite challenging because mostly it's just because of corona. So it was a bit tricky for me. So like having other sources, it was quite hard. I need to find alternatives and all that. But it was hard because most companies were closed, like where I can get genuine things and companies. So it was one of those things. After corona, just everything was hard. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Matildah. We have another question for Anthony, and this question is regarding the cold chain business. So Colonius is asking of what are the serious challenges that you faced in the cold chain business, given the fact that quality can be compromised with the COVID-19 crisis? Anthony, please.
Yeah, one of the challenges, apart from the ones I've stated earlier on, the cost of the cost runs on power. One of the major things is the electricity, and the costs of running the coastal the electricity issues is very high over here. And then when you want to use the plants to, that is a genset, to the cost of fuel, that is one of the major things that is really affecting us here. And then also to the exchange rate, the foreign, definitely when you buy the product, let's say the poultry product, it's in dollars, and the exchange rate in Ghana too, it's quite high. And then the charges at port too, it's very high. So those are the few things that, in addition to the ones we are experiencing during the COVID area, those are the things that are affecting us now.
Thank you very much, Anthony. Now I have one general question that goes to all our speakers for today, and it reads like, the question is, how can CILT help you as entrepreneurs? So I'll give you just 1 minute each to make a point on this. We can start with Tiza.
Thank you very much, Usman. One way I think that CILT can help us is pretty much with this, using the same platform. The networking opportunities that we already have. So just basically having more of these webinars or virtual meetings. That is one way. Another way is to help bridge the gap between business owners and financiers.
Thank you very much. Matildah? Matildah, can you unmute?
Able to, okay. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, what I was saying is we need such meetings, like Tiza has said. We need them to like talk about it. We need such, so that we get to know more about other people as well. It's not only about us, the 3 panelists. I bet there are others as well that would also want to speak about their businesses. So like you have known about On Point, this is quite good for everyone, because everyone will be like, oh, Matildah, On Point, Tiza, and Anthony. So I feel like we need more of these meetings most of the times. And I think mainly that's it. Unless, yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anthony? Hello, Anthony, can we have,
Yeah, I think all has been said by both, and when we get to learn from the experiences from our senior colleagues or our fathers, especially Mr. Teete Owusu, who happens to be someone I admire so much. He has been to be one person who has really motivated me so much during my diploma and certificate level. And which, of course, thank you so much, sir. And I'm so happy to even share a platform with him at this time, and also Mr. Naliba too as well. And if such programs are being organized for us, at least it will really motivate us and know that, well, we are on the right path to success. And definitely we are the future leaders. It is now we need to learn get the experience from our senior colleagues too as well. Yeah.
all right, thank you very much. And I just have one question to our chief for, and let's after this the question, we might be able to take invite Keith and Nilaliban to make a few questions to the speakers. So my question to Chief is that how can you share more in how CILT has helped you as a business leader and entrepreneur, sir?
Well, thank you, Usman. CILT, I can say, has made me who I am now, because it's given me great opportunities to meet good people and to allow me to learn a lot of problem shooting solutions that hitherto I wouldn't have had. I've met a lot of dynamics that I always use in applying to my day-to-day business life. dynamics, including human dynamics, cultural dynamics, so many of them. So for me, being part of CILT broadens my horizon and to learn more from the African Forum perspective, from the annual convention perspective, from the next generation perspective. So I encourage all and sundry that CILT has come to stay. You are the next generation. Don't be discouraged. We, the senior most officers, are there to support you. Myself, Keith, and all the international staff are there to support you, to grow and to mentor you to be, for you to aspire to be where we are and even beyond where we are.
Thank you very much, Chief, for that impressive presentation. And as I've mentioned, we'll have Nelaliban, we'll have all the questions. So we will allow Nelaliban to make a question to the speakers. Nelaliban.
Thank you very much, Usman. And I'm delighted to be sharing this panel with you all. One of the things I just want to find out from all of you is what is that key trait that in your view an entrepreneur should have? What is that one key trait that you'd say that, hey, this probably could be the game changer? I know that there are quite a number of them that a lot of us may have, but in this instance, and looking at the environment in which we all operate from, and relevant to your environment, what is that one key trait that keeps you going? So, Tiza.
For me, I would say it's resilience. So it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down. It doesn't matter how many times you make mistakes. Just learn from them, get back up, and keep going at it.
Matildah? Can we have Anthony as well?
Don't forget your sound, Matildah.
One of the few traits that I normally carry along with that is being transparent in whatever I do with my customers, and both my customers and suppliers as well. And then the level of consistency too, so that in case when you are being called upon to supply or do any business, the transparency is there, irrespective of anything at all. It will take you to greater heights. And those are the few core values that we cherish a lot in the company. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, for me, the sky is not my limit. Beyond the sky is always my limit. So I never stop going. And I always want to be the originator, and I want to leave a mark for generations and generations to come and witness and join. That is what gets me going.
Thank you very much, sir. So at this point, as we are drawing to the closing of this series, I just want to re-emphasize that the next generation is on a new journey to share a global example of our success story with our members. More of these programs will be coming up from different parts of the region. And from the next generation, we'd like to say that we are open for more ideas and suggestions, so feel free to contact us and reach us. And at this point, I will pass on the mic back to Keith to round up the final touch on this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Usman. And thank you, speakers, because that was wonderful. I'm going to be cheeky and ask another question, actually, before I let you go, because it really interests me. Matildah spoke about particularly actually how she was sourcing materials from other countries and clothing, and also that opened up the question on, well, how do we, or how can you encourage in your businesses Pan-African trade, both buying and selling? Because statistically, I think in Africa that the trade between countries is much lower than it would be in, for example, in Europe. And the challenge, I think, for somebody like Tiza is, well, how does he become the Amazon of Africa in another 10 years? And Matildah, you know, growing your business across Africa sounds like potential, and the cold chain similarly. So just each of you, if you wouldn't mind, how can we encourage more Pan-African business and trade? Are there things that stop you? What are the things you need to make that happen? I know Kim Hassel asked a bit of a question here. We've got lots of people from around the world, and it will be really interesting to get an African view on sort of African business from you guys who are the future. So can I start with Tiza, just for your perspective?
In my perspective, I think partnerships are everything. I don't believe in going it alone. No man is an island. I could do the same thing I'm doing in Nigeria and Ghana and still flop. And it's going to be successful. It's successful in Nigeria, it will fail in Ghana if I decide to go it alone. So I believe that partnerships will be the way forward for me and my business. Someone who's in Ghana can give me their own local perspective of how things work there, and I give them my own perspective of how things work over here. Now, both of us working together would make it a huge success in Ghana and other places as well. So for me, it's partnerships. So once we have those partnerships, everything would go smoothly.
Excellent, thanks, Tiza. I think that's a very good point, actually, and an opportunity. Anthony, what's your thoughts?
One of my thoughts is when the government that you are operating in, the country you are operating in, it creates that enabling environment for you that is taking into consideration the costs involved in production. That is the power. Right now, they are the main source. The government are the main supplier of electricity. They could have a little bit of tax holidays for the young entrepreneurs so that they can move into it. That is one. And number two, if the exchange rates could be controlled a bit so that at least there will be that consistency, so that there will not be that money or power fluctuation, that sort of thing. I think it will go a long way to help us too.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. And again, good point. So these are things to work on. Matildah, you spoke quite a bit about how you're already opening your business out to look across the country borders. Any views from you? We may be losing Matildah's connection a bit. I tell you what, Matildah, I'll ask Teete for a word and then come back to you if you're back in. So Teete, any thoughts on Pan-African entrepreneurship and business?
I think what I would say is that we from the international perspective, as CILT International, we need to create a synergy where we will support and share information. Sorry, I think that hello.
We can hear you, Teete. We could hear you.
Okay, I think from international perspective, that's CILT, we need to form a synergy and try to get a common area or get a common platform to get some of these entrepreneurs who are part of the next generation for us to share knowledge or ideas, and I think they equally need to be mentored, because we have professionals and across the continent who are doing similar or something quite close to what some of the entrepreneurs here are doing. So my thing is, first and foremost, to see how we can build their capacity through network with the members of CILT and help them to know the common areas they will share ideas, have the synergy, have the network and the collaboration as well. So that is where I want us to look at, because most of us can mentor all these nice ladies and gentlemen there, look at their challenges and walk them through. As I keep saying, let's not reinvent the wheel. You see, let's complement each other. Let's not see each other as a competitor and support each other. Yes.
Excellent. Thanks, Teete. I think there's real food for thought here, and I can see a few contributions coming in from people about how do we extend this network, how do we use this network in these current times of going forward, mentoring, how do we support that through the CILT? I've noted the comments earlier from Usman's question on how can CILT help. So we'll take those forward. There's one final question that came in as people were talking there about this directory for membership. This comes from Emmanuel Abbo, directory of membership for business collaboration between someone in Nigeria and China, for example. Now, interestingly, we are currently trying to create an international business forum with a focus on Africa initially. We had to hold that back from the Africa Forum in March. So this perhaps gives us some energy, and I can see some real energy from the next generation coming in here. But potentially, if we can build it and we can use you as next generation forum members to help us build that a bit further. So we'll certainly take, Usman's already raised that with me privately as we've been having the webinar. So we talk about how we can perhaps move that further forward. But meanwhile, it falls to me to thank everybody on this webinar, the speakers who've spent a lot of time preparing and delivered us three very interesting and different ways that they're building their business and coping with the current times, and very encouraging. So thank you, speakers. Thank you, Teete, for once again giving us your words of wisdom and your support. We're very also grateful for Nalaban for bringing this all together. He's been the man behind the scenes with Usman, taking this idea and making it happen. So we will come back. There's some ideas also flying in the chat for the next session. We actually have got the next three webinars mapped out up until the end of the year, but we're then looking to go into next year. And we can always add webinars into the program. So just be aware that in 2 weeks' time, the theme is going to be hazardous goods. So particularly with the Beirut incident, there's been lots of keen commitment to try and learn from that terrible accident that happened, and to share how we might approach those sort of risks in the future. And our International Vice President, Finbar Cleary, is gathering together an international group of speakers, and in 2 weeks' time, that will be our next webinar. Going into the autumn, we'll also be having another regional focus based on Central Asia in November. Watch out for that. And then back to the problems in the grocery industry. Our former international president, Paul Brooks, is gathering some speakers from the big grocery businesses in the UK to speak on that in December. So we've got that program to come. So thank you once again. I can see many of our usual attendees on. Thank you for those who've been listening on Facebook. Just a reminder, you can replay this from Monday. The recording will be available on our website. We have all our previous webinars there accessible to everybody. And thank you again to Usman for chairing us so well, steering us through, and have a good rest of the day, however much that is with all of you, wherever you are. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.